So hello, and it's welcome from me, Esther, and welcome from Bridget. So it sounds like the two Ronnies here. And we're on our
Louise.
yes, yeah, we're creating a new incarnation of it. And we're here for our part 6. It's a final installation of perspectives on expanded consciousness, and we're here to share our final words of what we call wit and wisdom. For me, I've sort of drawn or extrapolated quite a bit from what I've been going through in terms of my own inner transformation, and really what I feel compelled to share, because as we know, we teach others what we need to learn for ourselves. And so it begins, or it never ends, really. We're always evolving and we're always learning. And yeah, we're going to come on to a question later, which obviously we'll explain a little bit more. I'll keep you in suspense until then. So thank you, Bridget, for joining me once again, and for
pleasure.
Giving your wonderful time and energy. The most important aspect of your energy is your the most important aspect of you is your energy, your commitment, and your love. Yeah. So thank you to me and to our audience, obviously.
My pleasure and my honor.
So for me, 3 takeaways for me is like understanding what desire is. So desire is like is a call to awaken. It's a call to awaken the gifts within you. And in other words, it's a call of what I call God. It depends whether, if you don't believe in that, it's just a call to stir up the energy and move you forward in life and give you that momentum to fulfill your potential. So that's, for me, is what desire is all about. It's and when we don't respond, we're not following our dharmic path. We are following more or less a karmic path. We're always like getting knocked and feeling the turbulence. That's another point I'm going to come on to in a moment. But it's like we're always going to be buffeted. And desire, in a way, is like a vessel that shields us in a way from life storms when we come back. And actually, in actual fact, this is quite uncanny timing, because I just recently did a live with another gentleman, Diode Man, and we talked about focusing on desires rather than problems last Thursday. And for me, that helps sustain the energy, to sustain the vision, sustain the momentum of your higher self, and reaching that ultimate expression of who you are. And then the next point is really, when you're in following your desires, make sure that you're following your flow. So again, take the easy and inspired path. And why by inspired, I mean in spirit. So you're being guided by a higher force, or the higher force of your higher self, whatever you want to believe in. So yeah, but inspiration only comes and fullest creativity when you're in your calm inner state. And so by inference, then we need to shut out all the turbulence around us. So, and also, if we start pushing for results, so this is a lesson for me too, brothers. If it starts feeling hard and strained, know you're going against your flow. Know you're going against the flow of life. It's the ego taking over. Napoleon Hill would call it the devil, or the drifting self, when you literally succumb to doubt and limiting beliefs, I suppose, or you just let yourself be buffeted and you be knocked about. And I think you just need to actually understand that you are not your environment. You are the one who controls, not the controls in the sense of you're the master, you're at the helm of your ship, basically. And so it's all about your choices, staying with the flow as opposed to buying or giving credence to your limitations. So it's like, it's all about this law of assumption. So what you seem to be true will be true. And so if you know that your flow is your ultimate guide, your passion, your self-expression, then everything becomes much easier. And that when you actually allow yourself to give way to your fears, then obviously you will perpetuate the fear. And it's the ego part of you that's sort of trying to prove something or trying to make a result happen. Flow is always like almost serendipitous. It's very, very easy. It's very light energy. We talked about playfulness, and this is the joy side of things. Always remembering to connect to your joy rather than it feels hard, it feels difficult.
Yes.
We make it more difficult. We make life more difficult than it needs to be. And this comes back to the final point: ignore the turbulence, because there will always be troubled waters around us in our external conditions. People will be saying negative things around us, or sometimes we get sort of contrast where we sort of note, and that's then an indication to realize what's happening within. It's this mirror image of what suddenly we've gone into inner turbulence. We've gone into doubt. We've gone into not believing, not buying into our limitations and insecurities. And they are all, if you read the Course in Miracles, so fear is just an illusion, and we think we have to do all sorts of release things and to actually be able to move into a high state of consciousness. And it's not that. It's like we can just let it go. It's an illusion. Just dispense with it. Let the heavy mantle, throw it off, cast it off. It's literally as simple as that. Just throw it off you. Feel the weight lift off you, and enter the awareness. And I think that's the key with manifestation, is enter the awareness of the divine self, the I am. Because, we know that fear and faith are opposite ends of a spectrum in a way. And this is like the analogy of it's like the metaphor of, the storm of Galilee, when the disciples are out in the boat. And really the metaphysical understanding of that is that the boat is your consciousness, and these disciples are these states of consciousness. And that Jesus is like calling you, and he's then sort of stepping on the waters. And literally, when we disconnect from the turbulence and we go within our inner calm, because in the center of us, in the core of us, is that inner calm, and we come back to the awareness of who we are, our divine self, and then we proceed forward and we create the results that we want to see in the external world. But until that point, you've got to literally disconnect from the turbulence outside and can go back to the inner peace within. And and that's what I wanted to say. So you can ask me a question now.
I wrote a couple of things down, and you talked. You said the word God, and I think sometimes the word God can just feel like an urge within us to do something, and we don't know where that idea comes. It's an inspired idea, and actually, that's God. That's what's inside of us. It's just this. I've just had this amazing idea, and I have no idea where it came from, but wow. And that is something that we can really, like, everybody can relate to, no matter what their set of beliefs. And I think that, and we'll always know, because it will just feel different from a resistant, God, I've got to do this, got to do that, got to do this. We'll know within ourselves. And when we're constantly practicing to be aware of how we're feeling in the moment, then we can really continually realign ourselves with that abundant, free-flowing energy, which will then guide us in the right way. So I think really, I just want to tag on the end of what you've said, which is a lot of people saying, well, it's all very well what Esther's saying, but how am I going to do this? How am I going to, how do I just let go? How do I just get into the flow? How do I get those inspired ideas? How do I feel that urge or that God force within me that will guide me in the way that I want to be? Well, everybody's talking about it these days, but I think I've found no better solution than meditation. 15 minutes a day of practice meditation is probably the place to start. If anybody who's watching, hasn't done anything like this before, even if it's sitting with the busiest mind ever, just for 15 minutes, it doesn't matter. You can't quell your mind and stop the momentum in a nanosecond. Even I can't. When I start my meditation in the morning, I'm like, how long is it going to take this morning, right? Well, I've done it, brushed my teeth and made my bed, right? So meditation is really something that really works if it's done consistently. And like any skill, whether it's expansion of consciousness or learning a physical skill like an instrument or a dance or martial arts or whatever it might be, requires practice. And I think that when the desire is strong enough to really be in that beautiful state of inner peace and joy and feeling free and feeling inspired, if the desire to live like that is really strong, we'll figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
And I think that is really where the desire has to come from, in a really deep rooted place, to understand that it is possible to live with inner peace, happiness, serenity, joy, in the flow. It is possible to live like that kind of most of the time. Whereas I've worked with thousands of women over the years, so I kind of like, there's a few common denominators, and most people don't even believe that that's possible.
True. And
they think it's just for when they take 15 minutes of meditation, or it's just, apart from that, everything's chaos, right? But what if it was possible? And I think that's a question to ask yourself: what if it was possible to feel like that all the time? Or at least, I mean, never going to feel like that all the time, because as expanded beings, we're always going to experience some kind of what we call contrast, sort of like, which will enable us to reorient and get clearer on our desires. When I'm talking about desires, and I'm talking about material ones. But actually, it stands for a good life to just make joy your purpose. And everything will flow from that. And that comes with, first of all, an intense burning desire to live like that, no matter what life throws at me, no matter what I'm facing, no matter what I read in the headlines, no matter what my kids' grades are at school, whatever it might be. My dominant intent is to hold myself in a place of feeling good. That's all that matters. Because stuff is going to happen. It's called life with a little L. But if we devote our lives to life with a big L, then we start from a place, and that's when the magic starts to happen. So really, I think that finding practices, we had a conversation offline, Esther, a little bit about, sort of meditation, visualization, and do we separate them stuff? Well, since last Monday, I've actually gone into a meditation, affirmation, and visualization sequence.
All in one.
It's actually separate.
Oh, separate.
I've never done it separate before. Oh my God, so powerful. Because normally I kind of used to kind of blend the two, and it was a bit. But I thought, I'm going to give it a go this week to really. It's in the Miracle Morning, isn't it? It's like so silence, affirmation, visualization, right? But mine was kind of like, and I couldn't really get that clarity that I was looking for in the visualization. But I found that with the 15 minutes meditation, where the only goal is to quiet my mind, a few short affirmations, and then going into purposeful, deliberate visualization. So powerful. So in fact, it's got to a point it's like, I can't wait to do it in the morning, so I wonder what I'm going to see today, right? And so they're the sort of like the practices, because the only reason we want something, money, a great body, hot lover in your bed, fantastic place to live, is because we think we will feel better for the having of it. And so that's the law of assumption that you were talking about, and the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And we can have that feeling right here, right now, even if none of those things have already materialized. But it does take desire and practice. So that's really what I wanted to just jump on there. So Esther, we're on our last call today. What would the Esther of this moment say to the younger Esther, whether that was yesterday, last week, or when you were 15 or 25? I don't know. Just what couple of pearls of wisdom to round off our wonderful collaboration.
So I think for me, it is just choose you. That's been my guiding principle. It sounds selfish, and we're taught it's very selfish to put ourselves first. And but I've since learned that putting yourselves first is a higher calling. It's it's the expression of who we are. It's fulfilling, it's following our desires and expressing our fullest potential. And when we do that, we shine the light for others, as Marianne Williamson has said, and I've quoted previously.
Yeah.
And we are the example for others, for our children, for anybody else who interacts with us. And it's funny because I pulled an angel card. So intermittently, I pick these cards just when I feel the need for inspiration. And it said, this card today said, shine your light. So for me, and a colleague also said to me, Esther, you are really, to me, you epitomize the serene light of healing love in the world. So I think, what does that say? It means that I have, but then the card also said, look to your own end, look after your energy. Because obviously when you're in your high vibrational self, you are your best self and you serve others better. So this comes back to choose you, put yourself at the top of that hierarchy. It's your life. You have one unique life in this physical form currently that you're in. And it's on you really to make it the best ever in terms of fulfilling your potential and also making the biggest ripple effect in the world. And we do that only by serving, putting ourselves first. Selfish as it seems, but that is what the calling is.
Absolutely. It is about, as Gandhi said, being the example of the change that we want to see in the world. And
exactly. But we have so much fear around doing that because we have these doubts about, I'm not good enough. I made certain decisions last year. I made a big decision to invest a lot of money in myself, and I also made a decision to leave a job that was not serving me, and to strike out anew and fresh and just trust more and allow people to enter my sphere. And this is again this idea of follow your flow, and just when we're in that more trust energy of allowing a surrender, things happen more effortlessly, and the right people, because we cannot, even by any means of control, ego, whatever force, bring the right people and circumstances to us. It's always going to be a narrow version of what's our potential or what could be, because when we allow the surrender, mightier things happen. We connect in this one field, this quantum field, and we pull on energy from other places outside of us. We're all interconnected, there's no doubt about that, but we allow the energy to flow better in a more conducive to our desires way. But
I mean, I think that as I said, I've worked with thousands of women over the last sort of 12, 13 years. And that one of those things about putting ourselves first is something that has been a constant challenge. Mine are a bit different.
Yeah, that's right. You share yours, because I'm waiting a go with a bated breath. Yeah.
Well, the whole thing is that again, we discussed offline that the control thing about if we want to create something that's a lot bigger than us, we have to understand that the universe is going to have a huge part to play in this, because we do have to let go and trust. So that's something that where I completely align with you, and it's a very interesting process. And I am actually professionally building something that's so much bigger than me at the moment, and that is just like and when I set this goal, it wasn't for what it would bring me. It was because I was curious to see who I would have to become in order to create it.
Wow. Yeah.
I was like, wow, I wonder what I've got to let go of to create this goal. And I was like, wow. A lot of stuff. And every day's a school day, right? I mean, it literally is. It's been a fascinating few weeks as I made that sort of deep, irrevocable decision that I was going to do it, for the reason I've just said, because I was just interested to see who I would have to become in order to achieve it. Because what we have in our bank account, how our body looks, and what our relationship looks like is all under one law, which we all live whether we like it or not, which is the law of attraction. All right, it's the law of attraction. So we're magnets. We're magnets, and everything we have, everything that comes into our life, we've attracted it either consciously or unconsciously. This goes back to, that rather than life by default, rather than life by design. And I wanted to know if I could really train myself enough to be in a permanent state of raised vibration so I could attract different things just for the fun, because at the end of the day, what else have I got to do? There's nothing else. It's the most important work we'll ever do with our lives, isn't it? Learning how to be, in a vibrational alignments with abundance, whether that be health, wealth, relationships, or general well-being. It's just like, I want to how far I can go, because you said there's no limit, right? There's no limit to expansion. Expansion is infinite, and limitless, and ever present. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, wow, I wonder how far I can go before I croak. Isn't this interesting? And that was really the intention behind that. So looking back, honestly, for me, it was all about approval. I was right. I mean, I'm sure that my parents didn't mean this for one single second, maybe a bit. But I always felt that I was never high up to their standards, never good enough. So I was constantly looking, particularly for my father's approval, right? Always looking for approval, looking for ways to feel, at least to get one well done. And that I really didn't become conscious of until much, much later on. And I could see that all my behavior throughout my 20s, 30s, and early 40s was really unconsciously or subconsciously directed for always looking for approval. Always looking for approval, let's say it, from men. Okay, so bad controlling relationships and all the wonderful things that happened in those years. So that was the thing that I would say: learn how to love and approve of yourself, wholly, fully, completely, infinitely. Okay, I mean, Louise talks about it the whole time. The solution to everything is love yourself, right? So love and approval. That's something that I would love to have been aware of earlier. But we're all on our own path, and this is the experience my consciousness has chosen to live in at this point, and that's fine by me. On a practical note, I would say, just spinning off a little bit from the control, you have to let go of anybody else being responsible for your happiness. If it is to be, it's up to me. We are the creators of our own reality. It is my right and my responsibility to take control of, in a good way, of my vibration, my alignment, my practices. Nobody's going to do that for me. And one of my coaches said, there ain't one weight in the gym that's going to put a muscle on your body. Damn, right? So to understand that when we take full responsibility for our vibration and alignment, and what we do from that point of attraction is something that nobody else can do, one, and two, nobody is responsible for. If we find ourselves in a situation that's negative or challenging, it's nothing to do with the other person. It's always to do with how we can get back into vibration alignment as fast as possible. So so that gives us not just a responsibility, but also freedom. Because being able to be completely responsible for our own vibrational alignment gives us absolute freedom, right? It can be good or bad, positive or negative, right? So that responsibility gives freedom. So if it is to be, it's up to me. All right. Okay. So I can't blame anyone else. Nope. No blame, no finger pointing. What am I meant to say? If you point the same finger at someone else, you're pointing three pink fingers back at yourself. Remember that one?
I do, yeah. We do it as in yoga practice.
So that would be in a way, it would have been handy that I'd heard the things that I do now, in my 20s, for example, if you could be, do, or have, as you can be, do, or have anything you want, how do you want it? So to get to it's not about planning your whole life out when you're in your late teens or early 20s, but at least starting to get some clarity and to understand that you deserve it and that anything is possible, because the mind is a center of divine operation, and divine operation means expansion into something better that's gone before. Right, Jennifer Perrend. So I think that's stay curious, stay hungry, stay foolish, take risks. No one's getting out of here alive. Try things, experiment. It's okay to get things wrong. There's no shame. There's no shame.
And actually it contributes to our expansion, because we have lessons in those.
Everything contributes to our expansion.
Everything.
Yes, everything contributes to our expansion. And again, having worked with a lot of women, and I experienced this myself, they're so afraid of, man's biggest fear, and I think it's in Think and Grow Rich, might even be Outwitting the Devil as well, is public humiliation. Right? Public humiliation is the human being's number one fear, which is why a lot of people say public speaking is their biggest fear.
Fear, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And so that's interesting in terms of how I would have, how I only having realized that, the number one fear is public, being shamed publicly, right? Feeling ashamed that you does it, making a mistake, or going on social media, making a fool of yourself, being ridiculed. That's it. One of the 6 ghosts of fear. It's in Think and Grow Rich. And one of them is ill health. And the other one is fear of criticism, he calls it in the book. But it's basically, being criticized, ridiculed, made look stupid, or whatever it might be. It's a huge, huge, huge thing for us as humans. And so when Steve Jobs said, stay foolish, he didn't care. He was a bit of a draconian, not very nice person, but he really did not care. He transitioned quite early in life, so that might have been something. Perhaps he did care a little bit more than he said he did. But I think that's really, it's just work on your own vibration and be confident, be serene, be sure-footed, love and approve of yourself unconditionally. And it's okay to make mistakes. And if people laugh at you, hey, what? In any case, in 5 minutes, you'll be last week's story anyway.
Exactly. They're more interested in their own selves than you, basically. Yeah. We said this before, when you think about that.
Last but not least, on a more practical note, get your money right. Create your own financial independence as a woman. Never rely on a boss, a boyfriend, or a bank for money. Because...
Well, we know now, isn't it, with escalating interest rates and everything.
It's always been that way. Stocks and shares going up and down, interest rates going up and down, whatever it might be. But we are confronted, or we have money as an exchange pretty much daily, right? And so when you can feel that is done, you can really start being extremely powerful in life, when you don't have to think about money anymore. Because we know that, when you ask most people, what do you think about most? Money. What do you feel most negative about? Money. What do you feel most positive about? Money, right? So it's only a means of exchange. It's just numbers on bits of paper, or numbers, literally, now on a digital screen. So it means nothing intrinsically in and of itself. But the emotional attachment, or the emotional vibration around money, is the thing that is most difficult for people to overcome. And I think that's something, certainly for me, I'm one of these people that, I earn a lot and I spend even more. Well, I used to, but now I'm getting better. That's something that, get your money right, because that brings peace of mind. It brings peace of mind. All the bills are covered. I'm putting a little bit away every month. I can contribute to causes that are important to me. I can help my children come out of university without being crippled in debt. X, Y, Z, right? Get your money right. And that doesn't mean that you're going to steal it or swindle somebody or do it unscrupulously. Of course, in exchange, you do it in exchange for services, goods and services, you know. But I think that is probably, for women in particular, female financial empowerment and independence is a huge, huge thing. It contributes to happier marriages, happier relationships. And again, it's what I, just to finish what I said at the beginning, you know, why do I want to create this huge thing, go over and be on myself, to see who I will have to become in order to create it. And so as a woman, to create her own financial empowerment or financial independence, financial freedom, you have to grow in terms of self-confidence. So automatically the benefits are not just the money in the bank.
The money, no.
It's who you become as a result. More confident, more poised, more serene, more centered, more loving, you know, all those things that have to happen first before you see the money in the bank. So inevitably the personal growth that comes with that, you know, but a few exceptions. Of course, there's always going to be a few exceptions to the rule of people who are, you know, filthy rich and horrible. But there's horrible rich people and horrible poor people. And there's nice rich people and nice poor people.
Exactly. It's nothing about the money. It's about the person behind the money.
Money is just actually an amplifier.
It's an amplifier, exactly. So if you're a horrible person, it just amplifies the meanness in you.
I think that's the thing. So from a, you know, from a sort of a conscious point of view and also from a practical point of view, I'm passionate about joining the two. I think it's all very well training and helping people to feel better within themselves, but I much prefer to match it up with a financial vehicle which will enable them to produce something materially as well. And that's really my MO. And so that's what I would say to my younger self. Yeah.
Brilliant.
That's
well, thank you, Bridget. Yeah, I'm sure people found that really helpful. Yeah, I you know me, I've had my own sort of money limitations, and
well, we all
and
do.
I understand. Yeah, we you know, I mean, I've got lots of my conditioning. I understand that, and I just realized that, you know, it's like, as you say, connect to the love of who you are, connect to the love of God within, and yeah, you have to take some sort of aligned action to express that in the world and share that. But you know, when you do that, the money will come.
Honestly, you know, of course you have to be a cooperative component in the creation of what you're creating.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a great example, and someone says, you know, what, I need to take action. He said, well, just look at the garden before, you know, when God had hold of it, and now look at it now the gardener's got hold of it. So we are cooperative components in the creation of whatever we want in the physical world. However, when we take action, which is from inspiration, from a vibrational alignment, from a place of deep well-being, the compounding effects of the results of that action are way bigger than when we take resistant action.
Yeah.
Right. And
well, I've proven it so many times. My clients have as well to me, because like the more you drive a result, you know, the more it does elude you. You may get very, very bad show or for feedback, and I've seen that, you know, I've witnessed it. And
feel good, don't do it.
Yeah.
That's like literally, and even if it's something that you kind of like have to do, but you don't feel that you want to do, you know, because sometimes you just gotta, right? You gotta go into work, or you got, you know, the things, life's still got, you still got to keep doing that. Just take a step back and stop and say, how can I feel better about going into this next segment, even though it's something that doesn't please me as much as doing something else. There is a way that I can feel better about that. Okay, let's get centered. Okay, I just accept it. It's fine. This too shall pass. You know, I'm not going to always be doing this same work, and I will get past this. And in the meantime, I am where I am, and it's absolutely fine, and everything is working out for my highest good. You know, you can align yourself even with stuff that you don't want to do in a much happier way.
Yeah, I mean, this is true for me. When I was studying my therapies, and I was doing 3 days a week in a part-time sort of administrative role at a cancer hospital in Cardiff. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't my job. It wasn't my thing. I did it. I mean, I had gifts that I could deploy there, but I knew I wasn't inspired. But I did come did arrive there really positively, and I enjoyed being with the people, and I saw all the good stuff around it. And within a period of time, just showing up, rocking up in the high vibrational version of me, I manifested a full-time, much better job once I completed my therapy training. So I know, this is what you said earlier. It's like, God, look after your only work to do really is to look after your vibration,
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So,
anyway,
Esther,
what's your call to action? Yeah, you
no,
go.
I want to ask you first. So I'm sure so many people have been inspired by what you've shared here today. What about if people want to continue their journey with you and they want to work with you maybe on a one-to-one or in a group level? Tell us a little bit about your offers.
Well, my offers, I predominantly, I work best with one-to-one with my clients, so I offer one-to-one service. So I offer what's called an intensive program, which is where we work for 6 sessions over a period of 3 months. Or I work with people, some people prefer a sort of a more or you can say a more sedate approach because of their commitments. And I offer then a 12-month one session a month. And for me, those two offers really work well and work well with my clients. And so I just invite you to reach out. I provide a real first connection call where we talk about what you hope to achieve, where you think you're really being not really stepping into your power and why you feel you're being held back, and then we explore what's possible for you, and I guide you through various different techniques. One of my most powerful is the energy alignment method, and I teach you that and I hold your hand with that. And for me, that's the key thing, as well as the breath work and the meditation, that really connects to, and the gratitude that connects to the high vibration and builds up and ramps up that vibration. And from the high vibration, you start feeling more inspired, you start feeling more creative, you start feeling you're getting clearer about what your life's mission is all about, and you gain the confidence, because with clarity, the confidence does grow, because that's where I was. I really struggled. What am I supposed to be doing with my life, and I was like chopping and changing, going from one thing to another, but really just getting back into flow, getting that clarity, and then that really helped launch me. So I just put a link. You can book a call. It's a quick 30-minute check-in. We'll see where you are, where you're at, what your needs are, and really what your aspirations are. And really, I've got loads of testimonials, so you can check those out. I can provide a link as well to my website and to my social media links as well. Okay.
Fantastic.
And over to you. So I know you've got this big project, so I know you're keen to share. Or is that not yet available? So
anybody that's on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or LinkedIn will know that I have a relatively large network marketing business. Something I've been working with for over 12 years, and we're now in over 20 countries with 2,000-3,000 people in the customers and business partners around the world. So we're going into a project of mass expansion with that at the moment. However, I do some one-on-one coaching. I played around with sort of like doing workshops and group coaching and stuff like that, but actually like you said, Esther, the joy of being able to really do something that's a bespoke, tailor-made, personalized program for someone is a lot more satisfying for us as coaches and for the person as well. It's a bit like the difference between going to a class in the gym or having a personal trainer, right? So I have 1 2-hour session, which I will do. So with the objective being that I find out, we get some clarity. Again, we talk about clarity. I say clarity, confidence, commitment. It's the winning trio.
The winning 3 C's.
Yes. So in those 2 hours, we're going to get a lot of clarity about what that person wants financially. Right, that's the first thing I will go into. What is your freedom number? That's all you need to know, and then we reverse engineer a roadmap of how to get there. It won't necessarily be a detailed one because we'll only have 2 hours, but the person will come away with a toolbox that they can use on their own and that they can use to practice with daily in order to go through all the steps of that roadmap to get to where they want to get to as their first income goal. It won't be ultimately, you know, the 6 figures a month or whatever it might be, but the idea is to get them to a point where they feel ease and flow and relief around the income that their business or their job is producing. Okay, so that's the 2-hour session, and then the other one is a 90-day program. That's a once a week call, like you said, a little bit more intense. And then we'll have, first of all, we do the 2-hour discovery call like in the first offer, but that's included in the program. So we get the bones of the roadmap written out, and then we meet once a week. Included in that, I will ask also the person to do daily accountability, unlimited WhatsApp and email. So it's a full-on 90-day program, which by the end of it, when they come out the other side, they will be, if I say so myself, pretty much transformed. I would say, you know, looking for people who are hungry for change and have a courageous soul. Well, we all have courageous souls who want to find their courageous souls. What I like about that program is that I chunk it down into doable daily tasks, so that when the person wakes up in the morning or plans the day the night before, which is much better, they actually wake up with a plan. Tick boxes, right? I'm going to do this and I do this.
People like tick boxes, don't they?
Right? And I tell you why, because when we tick something, we get a little rush.
It's that dopamine. Yes, exactly.
Right? So I do tick boxes, guys. I do dopamine. And we have a lot of fun and laughter along the way, and I'll be able to reorient people towards, I mean, I do this, you know, for friends anyway. So I'm in a bit of a rut. What book do I need to read? You know, so I've always known, because I've read many books and I know a lot of resources and stuff. So I'll always know by getting to know the person how to orient them to other resources as well. So it's very collaborative. It's co-creative. What we're looking for is a partnership, not just me telling the person. We work interactively to bring in, as Napoleon Hill calls it, that third mind of, you know, inspiration and where with that higher self that we can really draw on the abundance of spheres, as Florence Scovel-Shinn calls it, that we draw on the abundance of spheres by working together over a 90-day program. I mean, we can always go on and do another 90 days, but I normally start with that to see how committed the person is, because people are full of good intentions, but as humans, we're not always very good finishers. And I started building this, you know, this big project with my network marketing company. It took me a long time to make the decision, because I knew it would require a lot of inner work. I knew it would require a lot of reorganization in my day. I knew I was going to have to work out more often, you know, because all this is interrelated, right? And well, when I hit 60, I was like, well, what are you waiting for, kiddo? You waiting for the bus? So that was, you know, I was kind of like waiting for the catalyst, and it came with my 60th birthday in May. So I was just like, okay, no, like if I don't do this, I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. I know I'm capable. So what am I going to say? I was just too lazy, or I couldn't be bothered to do the change. Am I going to live like in this state of consciousness? I want to grow, and what I like growth within structure. Yeah, and, I'm better when I have, again, like you say, those tick boxes. So there we are. They're the two programs I have for the moment. Very simple.
Yeah. And when people say, you know, oh, I don't know whether I can afford to work with you or whatever, and I just think, well, you go back within and connect back to really who you are and what you desire for your life. Are you committed to your desires or not? And, you know, that makes the choice easier. It's all about a choice. We have a choice to, as I said, to vote for ourselves. I mean, it's like, that's why for my younger self, it's all about choose you, you know, and that's why I invested accordingly.
I mean, we choose our coaches because we really believe that they will be able to get us to where we want to get to. And if we really have that belief and our own desire to advance is strong, then the financial aspect of it sorts itself out pretty quickly.
Totally.
Even the poorest family will find the money for a funeral, right?
Yeah.
So money is never the issue. It's always about, am I really ready for change? Am I really ready? Or am I just saying that I want to change? Okay. Or maybe it's just a wish. And the second one is, do I believe that that person is going to be the right person for me? And I say I might not be the right person for you. I know not everybody loves me. That's fine. I love me. And I don't always have the right energy. I have quite a, as you say, quite a strong energy. And other people will prefer something much, softer and less directional. But that which is like into itself is drawn, and if somebody feels attracted to working with me, then that's absolutely fantastic. But normally, particularly if they're interested in the 90-day program, the first thing I'll do is to find out if we're compatible. Because even though I'm adaptable and I can mold myself around the needs of the person, this has to be a joyful process for them and not a burden, as you said earlier, Esther. So it can be that we'll have half an hour together and I'll say, actually, do you know what? I don't think this is a match. And I've done that in my network marketing business. Yeah, I really want to work with you. And I've had a call with them and I was like, actually, I don't think this is for you. Just like, go do something else. So I'll be very, very, very honest like that. I won't just do anything for money at all. I'm not interested in that at all. I don't need it. I do this because I want to expand and to serve people in the highest way. And I will always, always, always work with them, in an ethical way. And if people aren't right for me and I'm not right for them, then, I'll tell them.
Yeah. They're going to be ready to change, ready to
really
take the life.
And whatever expansion you're going into, it's always going to put you in front of what you're not good at. And that change requires courage, and a little bit of, be a bit brazen, I suppose, in a way, to really just sometimes go beyond that and be willing to let go of all those limitations. And but if you're at a place where the pain of change is less than the pain of not changing, you're ready.
You're ready, more than ready.
Yeah.
So if you are more than ready for change, then do reach out. We'll put some links below the video now once we've finished our live. And I want to thank my wonderful, wonderful, beautiful guest, Bridget. She's been a real treasure. And it was her inspiration, really, that led us to this collaboration. And I'm really grateful for that. It's really helped me. It's really, I think it's helped us collectively. And and well, if you feel ready to take that step, that's where you'll find us. So
absolutely. Well,
thank you very much for your participation, whatever, how much, whether you've dipped in or dropped out. I know I've had some very good feedback from some of my friends from earlier episodes, and we definitely were on track to help people wherever they are. And as you say, you'll reach the right person at the right time. And if this is the right time for you and the right person, then you'll definitely jump in, because this is your life. It's your life to create what you would desire.
Absolutely. Well, Esther, same for me. I really, really want to say how much I've been not just enjoyed this, but I really felt there's been a massive cooperative component for my own personal growth as well. We did 6 weeks. I can't believe it.
It's God's flown, isn't it? It's crazy. I know.
And some of the things that you shared, I've started to implement them as well in my own life, and I've seen already the benefits very quickly. So it works. Hey, guess what? This stuff works.
The law of assumption helps as well. Buoy that up.
Absolutely. Well, that's that belief and trust I was talking about.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So thank you so much again, and let's do it again sometime. It was absolutely
definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you all for listening.
Great day. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.